que le prince héritier du sultanat de Surakarta à Nini.
So Centhini, the performance, is based on a huge work. It's the big epic of Java, written at the beginning of the 19th century by 3 court poets from Surakarta in central Java. And it's considered like an encyclopedia of the knowledge of Java, but also it's a beautiful wandering, a quest for the inner self, for the spiritual or the union with God. You know? So it's about 4,000 pages long and all in verses, because the literature in the old time, especially in Java, was in terms of song, yeah? Like the tembang, yeah? It's called tembang or mocopat. It was written in the 19th century, but it might be much more ancient. You know, the babon, as we said in Indonesia, in Java, is the womb is much older. So, working on it by the end of the 20th century, I had also to add a new layer of the 21st century, coming from the West, being a woman. So this is my contribution also, and so it ended up to be a book of 400 pages, and in French, and then we translated it into Indonesian, and it became the Centhini of the 21st century for Indonesia. So, and this is how now Centhini is known in Indonesia, through this version, because the ancient version is too difficult to read. Yeah. I was dreaming to perform it in a way, to bring it back alive. And there is the hero of the Centhini is called Among Raga, Among Rogo, yes? The one who is carrying his body. He has to carry his body. He's dreaming of union with God, you know, to moksha, yeah? But he has to carry his body. It's heavy, you know, for his whole life. And he has a brother. So this Among Raga is Javanese, and the brother is an adoptive son, and he is Chinese. And in the story, the Chinese son wants the war against Sultan Agung. It's the play is taking place in the 17th century, at the beginning of the 17th century, with Sultan Agung in Java, who wants to overtake the complete island. And there is a small sultanate, a caliph, in East Java called Giri, which is resisted. Yeah? And the Sunan Giri asked his 2 sons, should I become a subject of Sultan Agung, or should I make war against him? And the Chinese son says, you should not submit, and we will fight. But the Javanese son says, no, we should look for peace. And you can see a conflict between 2 sons, but as a matter of fact, I read it as a conflict within yourself. And I reinterpreted it because this is a suluk, so it's a Muslim Sufi work, yeah? As the small jihad and the great jihad, you know, where the small jihad you have to make war sometimes. You know, if you have some robbers coming into your house, you have to defend yourself. At least defend your wife, your daughters, if they... But then you have to go on the great jihad, which is the war against your own passions. Yeah? This is the most difficult. And this is what is Centhini about. At the beginning, it talks about war, but then it's the big, very long quest for cleaning up your own patience. So this is the same character. And I always dream to make it, to perform it with Didik Thowok, who is a very famous dancer in Indonesia. No, we didn't change the characters, we didn't change the writings, we just made a kind of scenario so it can work, you know, in an hour, and that we can see all the characters of Centhini. Because Centhini is considered as a sacred book, but also as a very down-to-earth book, because it's about life, and life sometimes can be very spiritual, sometimes can be very vulgar, sometimes can be very sacred, sometimes beautiful. It talks about princes, but also about very poor people or village people, you know. So we try to take parts of the Centhini that can symbolize all these faces of Centhini, all the characters. So Didik is playing many characters in 1 hour.